The next presentation is from Alaska-focused oil exploration and appraisal company, 88 Energy, with the ticker code 88E. To tell us more, I will hand you over to Managing Director and CEO, Ashley Gilbert. Good afternoon, Ashley.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you, Jane. It's good to present to existing prospective investors on the 88 Energy story on the broker briefing platform. Brilliant. There you go. Perfect. All right. So we can just skip through the disclaimer page and we can get moving with the presentation. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. We'll start here. So 88 Energy is an oil and gas company which is focused on unlocking value from 4 key projects on the North Slope of Alaska. We've been active on the North Slope since around 2015, and since that time we've invested heavily in our acreage. We've drilled 5 exploration wells, and we've acquired significant amounts of 2D and 3D seismic over the years across all our acreage. In Q1 of this year, we drilled the successful Merlin-1 well at Project Peregrine, and we're now focused on preparing for the Merlin-2, the follow-up Merlin-2 appraisal well, which is planned for Q1 2022. Okay, as I've mentioned, 88 has 4 projects on the North Slope, which has a combined 3.4 billion barrels of oil equivalent of prospective resource. And we have 2P reserves of 94 million barrels of oil. The most significant activity for us, as I've mentioned, is the upcoming Merlin-2 well, appraisal well. And that well is targeting 652 million barrels of oil, and it has a geological chance of success of 56%. And I'll go into this well in a bit more detail a bit later. And I think it's important to note that we've got a track record of delivering wells on the North Slope since 2016. And all of these wells have been operated by 88 Energy safely and cost effectively. And just the last thing to note on this slide in particular is that we've gone through some recent board and management changes, with myself taking on the MD role around mid-year this year. And also with Phil Byrne and Joan Kedrick have joined the board as NEDs, and Rob Benkovic has also joined as COO, all of whom bring extensive technical and commercial experience to the company, which is important. So we're strengthened on a technical front. So this slide provides a bit of an overview of the 88 Energy acreage position on the North Slope of Alaska. You'll see the red blob in the middle there. The central project is Project Iceland acreage, which we initially acquired in 2015. And since that time, we've completed an extensive work program on this acreage. We've drilled 2 unconventional wells and acquired 2D and 3D seismic. And then in 2020, we drilled the Charlie-1 well, which is a condensate discovery. Importantly, it's worth noting that the Iceland acreage has a conventional estimated prospective resource of 1.6 billion barrels of oil. And then over to the left, excuse me, over to the left in the NPRA region, you'll note our Project Peregrine acreage and the UMAT oil field acreage, both of which are recent additions to our portfolio. With Project Peregrine we acquired in 2020, and the UMAT oil field we acquired in Q1 2021. So with Project Peregrine, just to give you some context on the size of these acreage positions, that is approximately 195,000 acres. And with that Project Peregrine acreage, we hold 100% interest. So we have a high working interest across all our acreage. And also, you know, with Project Peregrine, it's on trend with a 750 million barrel Willow oil field, which is to the north, which ConocoPhillips is looking to develop. And then the final bit of our portfolio is the Yukon acreage, which you'll see up in the northeast corner adjacent to Point Thompson. The Yukon acreage is a slightly different strategy where we're looking to consolidate smaller known oil fields into a larger combined oil field development, and I'll go through that a little bit later. All right, so just briefly on the slide, you'll note that 88 Energy is in a strong financial position with 36 million in the bank, and we have no debt, which was paid. The debt was paid out this year in June, and we currently have a market cap of 400 million. It's also, as you can see from the chart, over the last 12 months, we've enjoyed a reasonable share price growth from 0.5 cent to 2.8 cents. And you'll note also a spike during the drilling of the Merlin-1 well. We went as high as 9.6 cents. All right, for those who are unfamiliar with Alaska, it's important to note that the oil and gas industry in Alaska is a well-established one, with the region known for being prolific oil province, with some of the largest producing oil fields in the United States located there, such as the Prudhoe Bay oil field. Despite this, Alaska is still relatively underexplored. And there's also excellent infrastructure. Alaska has an attractive fiscal regime, and the state is quite supportive of the oil and gas industry, given it's a major employer and a source of revenue for the state. So in all, Alaska is a world-class location for the oil and gas industry. Just on this slide, you'll note our projects span across the oil and gas life cycle, with the Yukon leases over to the left there in the exploration phase, containing an undrilled Cascade prospect, which has 86 million barrels of oil prospective resource. And then in the middle, you'll see in the appraisal section, the Project Peregrine and Project Iceland opportunities, both of which have successful, well, Project Peregrine has a successful Merlin 1 result, and Charlie 1 is the condensate discovery in Iceland. So we're moving through into an appraisal phase on those projects. And then the Umia oil fields, which is just in the cusp of development phase. We acquired this, as I mentioned, in Q1 this year. It's got 94 million barrels of oil, 2P reserves, and currently we're undertaking a review of the historical development plans put together by Link Energy. And we're looking to optimise those plans. I'll touch on that briefly later. Okay, so Project Peregrine, as I mentioned, is where the recent successful Merlin 1 well was drilled, and we have the upcoming Merlin 2 appraisal well, which is scheduled to be drilled in February of 2022 in the winter season in Alaska. The acreage was acquired last year through an off-market takeover of XCD Energy, and the project encompasses, as I mentioned, 195,000 acres, and it's on trend with the Willow oil field to the north, which ConocoPhillips is looking to develop. And the acreage itself has a total mean prospective resource of 1.6 barrels of oil equivalent, and that prospective resource was updated off the back of the Merlin 1 results. So, as I've mentioned, and from our various releases, you would have noted that we're pretty excited about the Merlin 1 well results. It's the best well we've actually drilled to date over the wells since 2015. With light oil was detected in 3 separate nanoshelf horizons, with 41 feet of net pay noted. But importantly, the presence of movable hydrocarbons was evidenced by data, and geochemical analysis of fluids demonstrated evidence of light oil with an API gravity in the range of 30 to 40 API. Given these results, we're now proceeding with the Merlin 2 well, which I'll talk about in the next slide. So the Merlin 2 well, planning and permitting is well advanced, and we're on track to spud in mid-February 2022. I understand there's been a decent fall of snow over the weekend, which is positive, so we'll start to commence work probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks, which is fantastic, so we're well ahead of schedule. And importantly, some current investors would note that we raised 24 million recently for the drilling of the well, and we've also secured the Arctic Fox rig recently. So it's all system go for us for the drilling of the Merlin 2 well. At the moment, you'll note from the map in the bottom corner there that there's currently 3 potential drilling locations which have been permitted for the appraisal well, which are close to the shelf break, where we're expecting reservoir thickness and quality to improve. And I guess we'll in the next 2 or 3 weeks announce exactly which of those locations we'll drill. If you go to the next slide, I'll talk about the extensive list of drilling opportunities we have in the acreage. So in addition to the Merlin 2 well, we have previously permitted the Harrier 1 drilling location, which remains a future independent drilling location for us. It's got 2 stacked reservoir targets, and it has a mean prospective resource of 353 million barrels of oil. And it's also just worth noting, whilst we've permitted 3 locations, we're only going to drill 1 in 2022 for the Merlin opportunity. We will go back and look at drilling the other 2 opportunities. So in all, we've got an extensive portfolio of Project Peregrine of multiple large independent drilling locations. Right, across all our projects, good progress is being made at the moment. So with the Umia oil field, we're assessing the historical development plans for optimisation. And importantly, given its location just south of the Willow oil field, which Conoco's looked to develop, as I've mentioned, we're assessing the potential to tie back to the Willow oil field, and that will reduce costs in terms of pipes and roads and paths to market for the company and the project itself. And then with Project Iceland, work's continuing with the reassessment of the potential across the acreage in light of the Pantheon Resources Talitha A well. The Talitha A well is just north of our Iceland acreage, And we're encouraged by the results that Pantheon's published in relation to their drilling last season. I understand they're going back again next season, so we'll be watching that with interest. And we believe that resource potential that's being targeted by the Talitha A well extends onto the Alaskan acreage. So, we're anticipating putting out an updated prospective resource estimate in the near future. And then just finally, with regard to the project Yukon acreage, progress is being made with discussions with nearby resource owners, where we're looking to consolidate several small known oil fields into a larger possible joint development. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to announce something with regard to this shortly. Okay, so just in closing on our presentation this morning, 88's got a strong investment case, and we have significant news flow over the next few months, particularly with the Merlin 2 well. And across all projects, in fact, there'll be news flow. And we're especially excited about the Merlin 2 well. It will be one of the largest opportunities we believe being drilled in 2022 globally. And as I mentioned, its targeting is 652 million barrels of oil, and with a geological chance of CCS of 56%. And a successful result will provide significant upside for our shareholders. So with that, I'd like to wrap it up and leave it on the last page of the presentation, and I'm happy to take all questions.
Thank you for the great presentation. We've had a few questions come through. So is drilling affected by any seasonal factors?
Yeah, it will be. So you can only drill in Alaska on the tundra in the winter season. So that's typically from December through to April. So we'll start to mobilise equipment and commence the snow road in December. And I expect, as I mentioned, to spud the well around February. And we should be off with testing, etc., off the slope by around the end of April, mid-April, I'd say.
Well, actually, you just answered my next question, so thank you for that. Looks like you're certainly pregnant with news, so look forward to seeing the updates. And thank you for joining us on Broker Briefing.
Brilliant. Great. Thanks, Jane.